Good morning and welcome to the Assembly for Monday the 22nd of November 2021. The Assembly today is being led by me, Mrs Watson, and our Assembly today will explore our core values of resilience, ambition and respect. And before I move on to the next slide, I just wanted to draw your attention to the icons at the side of the screen. SMSC stands for Spiritual, Moral, Social and Cultural, and on the other side of the screen, you can see our British values: democracy, rule of law, individual liberty, respect and tolerance. And it's through the work that we do in tutor times in the morning that we help you to learn more about these areas and help to develop you personally as individuals so that you can flourish in wider society. It's really, really important that you don't just leave us with a full set of qualifications, but you leave us as full rounded individuals. And we do this by focusing on the spiritual, the moral, the social, and the cultural. This enables you to develop your self knowledge, your self esteem, and your self confidence. It enables you to distinguish right from wrong. So think about moral there, and to respect the civil and criminal law of England. It's for you to accept responsibility for your behaviour, show initiative, and to understand how you can contribute positively to the lives of those living and working in the local area, in the school, and in the society more widely. It's to enable you to acquire broad general knowledge of and respect for public institutions and services in England. It's to help you develop further tolerance and harmony between different cultural traditions by enabling you to acquire an appreciation of and respect for your own and other cultures. It's for you to have respect for other people. It's for you to have respect for democracy and support for participation in the democratic processes, including respect for the basis on which the law is made and applied in England. Furthermore, it's through the work that we do in assemblies and through our Votes for School sessions that we really help to understand our core British values of democracy, rule of law, individual liberty, respect and tolerance. What we want for you is to understand our British values so that you can have an understanding of how you as a citizen can influence decision making through the democratic process, have an appreciation that living under the rule of law protects individual citizens and is essential for their well-being and safety, have an understanding that there is a separation of power between the executive and the judiciary. And what that means is there's some public bodies, such as the police and the army, that can be held to account through Parliament, and there are others, such as the courts, that maintain independence. To have an understanding that the freedom to choose and hold other faiths and beliefs is protected by law. To have an acceptance that other people having different faiths or beliefs to oneself or having none should be accepted and tolerated and should not be the cause of prejudicial or discriminatory behaviour. And finally, to have an understanding of the importance of identifying and combating discrimination. And it's through our Votes for Schools work every week that we most obviously explore these themes. So what you can see here is the targets that we met when we explored the debate: should more people get involved with religious celebrations? And if I just draw your attention to the bottom of the screen, if you look at our target 6.5, last week we were promoting fundamental British values by you accepting that other people having different faiths or beliefs to oneself or having none should be accepted and tolerated, not discriminated against. And you can see here how we explored the idea of tolerance for other people's religions through our Vote for Interfaith Week. In fact, our national result came up with more of us saying yes, that more people should get involved with religious celebrations than perhaps than the national vote had. So we seem to be a more tolerant and inquisitive school community. Let's just hear some of the individual views here. People should share understanding about other religions so we can learn and be a great community. I agree that people might forget about the religious part. As for Christianity, Christmas is about Jesus and people might take advantage for the gifts. It's good to acknowledge these are taking place and to show respect. However, celebrating something you do not believe in just for a party, etc., could be offensive to those who hold values dear and could be considered misappropriation. We need to be respectful when it comes to this issue while supporting our friends from different religions and beliefs. I think it depends on the person and their own culture. Personally, even though I'm not religious, I wouldn't mind taking part in other people's religious cultures as I can understand them more as I'm interested in learning about them, but other people may disagree. I think that people can get involved with religious celebrations. However, I feel as though they should only get involved if they're aware of why the celebration is being celebrated and they are educated properly and are able to respect tradition. Well, I believe people should be respectful and take pride in any celebration. In my opinion, if you really want to take pride, then go ahead, as we should all respect each other's religions. And what's really coming out really strongly there is your understanding of respect, which that being a core value for the school is fantastic to see. So just remember, you can share your individual views through Google Classroom, because I've put the vote topic on there weekly, and it gives you a space for you to give me a bit more detail on what you think and what you've learned. I then share the best of those with Votes for Schools, so your voices are getting heard. Now, this week we looked at, as part of Anti-Bullying Week, is banter an excuse for bullying? And again, drawing your attention to 6.6 here for our target, we will helping you to have an understanding of the importance of identifying and combating discrimination. And that's a core British value there, respect and tolerance. So for Anti-Bullying Week, this is how we came across. Is banter an excuse for bullying? 12.5% of you voted yes, and the majority, 87.5%, voted no. Now we're going to look in a second, once we've heard some of those views, about how that looked with the national vote. So let's have a look at some of your feedback. Between friends, banter is acceptable, but you have to be aware that some people may be insecure and banter can be damaging. Also, if your intent is negative, it's not good at all. I think this topic was very good to consider, because some people might not know the difference between banter and bullying, because someone may be being rude to you non-stop and they think they're being funny, teasing you and thinking it's all a joke. But it's actually what they're saying is really hurtful. And the person on the receiving end doesn't know it's a joke, then that isn't good. Yes, banter is an excuse for bullying, because when people make rude comments and say it's a joke, and deep down it hurts people's feelings. Banter is playful joking, not bullying. You can't bully someone and say it was just banter. Your friends understand that banter is joking, but other people may not. You have to know if they're okay with banter. Banter needs to be in context, and you need to understand the people you are with. Sometimes it oversteps the mark and it can be a grey area. Too many people take things to heart too quickly, but if you don't have a close relationship with someone, then you shouldn't be bantering with them in that way. Banter can be an excuse for bullying. It can be hurtful. People need to be more considerate and thoughtful before they speak. Imagine how you would feel if it was said to you. If you don't think your nan would like to hear it, then you simply shouldn't say it. Banter isn't an excuse for bullying. If we say something that makes someone uncomfortable, then it's not banter. Banter should be light-hearted, joking with friends. It should never be offensive, and bullying should never be excused by calling it banter. So some really fantastic views here. Now, if we look at our feedback, how our results compare nationally, you can see that for our school, we're not only below the yes vote for the region of Surrey, but also nationally. We only voted 13% is banter an excuse for bullying is yes, whereas the regional vote was 18, so slightly higher than that, but nationally 24. Now, does that actually show that there are different perceptions of banter, and maybe people going over the boundaries far more in other parts of the country? Or does it mean that maybe as a school community, we're perhaps excusing unkind behaviour, and just saying it as a joke? So as you go forward this week, keep that in mind in your interactions with your peers. And we are going to be exploring in year 7 to 10 more about bullying on Friday. And what I want to show you now is something that I've added to our Google Classrooms for this week. It's the ability for you to report concerns, safeguarding concerns, via Google Classroom, because we're aware that some of you don't always want to speak up and come and speak to us in person. Now, there's two ways that you can do that. If you really, really are nervous about reporting something and you want to remain anonymous, there is an anonymous reporting form there that does not collect your email address. Alternatively, and preferably, so we can support you and your peers, the first reporting concern button will automatically collect your email address, so we know who has reported that concern. We're doing this because the safety and well-being of you as our students is something that we really strive hard to ensure, and we continue to work hard to provide ways to help you to tell us if you or your family have any problems or worries. So, for example, bullying, peer issues, schoolwork. Okay, so please be aware that that's there. You can report in the normal manner by talking to your tutors, your teachers, or coming up and speaking to one of the safeguarding team. We're always here to listen to you. Coming off the back of that, we did have some reports from one student that they felt quite uncomfortable on the back of the work that we did on bullying last week about travelling on the bus. And I'd like to draw your attention to the expectations that are there for you, for those of you that travel for free on the Transport for London network. Now, if you've got a zip card, there are rules of travel for you. And those are that you need to act in a considerate and responsible manner, act safely, cooperate with the staff and treat them and other passengers with respect, use language that does not cause offence to others, ensure you're the only person that can hear your music, ensure you pick up all your litter, keep your feet off the seats and give up your seats for others. I'd like to remind you that you are a reflection of the school and our trust when you're travelling on the public transport network in uniform, but you are also a reflection of yourself, your family, and your community. Are you presenting the world the best possible version of who you are? And drawing onto that and talking about the trust, we are part of something much bigger. We are part of the GLF Trust, okay, which is known as Grow, Learn, Flourish. There are 41 schools within GLF currently, but it is a growing trust and we're getting more schools all the time. They have 34 primaries and 7 secondary schools. And the mission of our trust, which we nicely fit into with our values, is to be a supportive family of schools where together we can grow, learn and flourish. So you're not just representing the school, you're representing something much, much bigger. So what's been in the news this week? Stick to the day job. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced plans to stop MPs from having second jobs where they are paid to give professional advice on political matters. UK terror threat increased. After a taxi exploded outside a hospital in Liverpool, the terror threat is now severe. If you're worried about this, then I'm going to give you a link in Google Classrooms for some more advice. A road blockade too far. 9 protesters from Insulate Britain have been jailed after they went against an order not to block roads. They were given either 2 or 3 month sentences. An unsavoury cost. According to recent data, the cost of snacks like Pringles and hula hoops have gone up by 7.6% in 3 months. This is largely due to problems linked to the pandemic. So we're just going to very, very quickly now go over some feedback from a previous topic. So think about, what did votes for COP26 achieve? You may remember you voted on, will climate change affect children's rights? 46,045 young people voted as part of this. And you can see there's quite a difference in opinion when it comes from areas of the country. Only 93% said yes in Scotland, 89% said yes in Northern Ireland, 72% in England, and only 56% in Wales. So there is a bit of a difference there depending on where you live and on how much you think it's going to affect you. Votes on this topic came from children and young people aged 8 to 15, and most of the votes come from England or Scotland. There are also votes from 14 other countries, which we can't see included here. So do these results surprise you? Do you think the results would change if the vote happened again now that we've heard what's going on at COP26, now that it's closed and we've heard the discussion and debate that's been going on there? So answering the big questions, you may also remember answering some big questions as part of your Votes for Schools COP26 topic, and you're going to see some of these on the next few slides. For each one, can you guess which number fills the gap? I'm going to race through these quite quickly. Use your fingers to show which answer you think matches. So 1, 2 or 3. So question number 1, what percentage of voters were extremely concerned about climate change? Is it 11%? 21% or 31%? 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 fingers, hold them up now, show your tutor. And it was 31%. So 31% of voters were extremely concerned about climate change. What percentage of voters thought climate change would affect their rights in some way? Was it 54%, 74% or 94%? Hold up your fingers now, 1, 2 or 3. 94% was correct. What percentage of voters says decision makers like governments had the biggest responsibility to tackle climate change? 25%, 35%, or 45%? Hold your fingers up now. It was 35%. Only what percent of voters believe that enough is being done about climate change? Was it 11%, 22%, or 33%? Hold your fingers up now. 11%. Only 11% of voters believe that enough is being done about climate change. And you can see here that lots of amazing people and organisations shared their thoughts about it too. We've got Shout Out UK, UNICEF, Jemima Goldsmith, Oxfam Education and Global Learning London, just a few of the organisations that tweeted about the work of COP and Votes for Schools. Although COP26 may be over, it's important we keep the conversation about climate change going. Where else would you like to see your comments and votes go? It's children's future, so why don't they decide what will happen to them? Nothing should change the rights of young people, not even climate change. Less talking, more doing. Sort it out now before everything is completely irreversible. Votes for Schools are going to write another report about the impact your voices have had, which showcases who and where they have been heard. So they've already done an initial report, an impact report for COP26, but the next report will also include the results of this week's topic. So please, 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 please make sure you cast your vote. There are some tutor groups that don't do the tutor group vote. If you know your tutor is one of them, you need to nag them tomorrow to get the Votes for Schools slides on the screen and submit your votes, please. You will also get additional rewards if you then go onto your Google Classroom and do the follow-up work on there and give me your individual views. So, and one more final challenge to keep the conversation about climate change going. Votes for Schools want to hear from you. What topic would you like to discuss about the environment in 2022? So there's some words there for you to think about: deforestation, fossil fuels, water supply, plastic, technology, air quality. You can email them directly at secondary@voteforschool.com, or alternatively, let me know by putting something in the comment box on the Google Classroom form. So, this week's vote topic is: was COP26 successful? So you're going to learn more about COP tomorrow in the session. You're going to hear some more feedback from what was discussed and what was decided. But some views for you to start thinking about already. Having all these countries in the same place talking about the same thing is surely a success, right? Many leaders were pleased with the outcome of the negotiations. Even if it's only a small step, it's still progress. I don't have much faith that leaders will stick to the things that were agreed. It's too early to tell if it was a success. Many nations more vulnerable to the effects of climate change were left unsatisfied. So, the end of the lesson: vote to share your opinion. Make sure your tutor collates that, puts it on the Google form for me, and then you can also go onto Google Classrooms and add your individual views in there. And then I will share those with Votes for Schools and the rest of the Votes for Schools community. That needs to be done by Thursday because there's a deadline for me to get those in. Thank you very much for listening and have a great week.